Talofa lava, welcome back. This is Pacific Waves from RNZ Pacific. I'm Susana Suisuiki. Coming up.
The Prime Minister has already made a statement on that, and I don't want to add anything more to it.
It's a new year and cracks are already appearing in Fiji's coalition government. Also,
getting the shops up and running again will take probably a year.
The investigation into PNG's riots is ongoing, and later on,
it's really been a tough time, but yeah, we're glad that everything worked out.
Pacific women cricket players put their best foot forward. Explosive allegations of an affair between two cabinet ministers in Fiji is unravelling. Fiji's Deputy Prime Minister Biman Prasad is staying tight-lipped on allegations of extramarital affairs between the Education and Women's Minister who were on official business in Australia. According to blog site Fiji Leaks, the rendezvous took place during a 3-day ministerial trip in Melbourne organised by the Victorian Parliament. The leaked images show Women's Minister Linda Tambuya allegedly admitting to getting drunk and high on marijuana and shared lewd images with Education Minister Aseri Ranjojo, who was dismissed by Prime Minister Sitiveni Rabuka for an unrelated issue on Friday. Alicia Foon spoke with Deputy Prime Minister Biman Prasad about the allegations, cracks within the coalition, all happening on the backdrop of Fiji's largest drug bust.
The coalition, we've had a very clear understanding right from the beginning, and despite all the rumors of fractures and rifts within the coalition, we have run the government, quite effectively for more than a year already. Of course, in a coalition government, as you know very well in New Zealand, there are always, once you decide to form a government, you elect a prime minister, and the prime minister has certain powers, and there are ways in which the ministers are to behave and do things, and that's how the prime minister has acted, and it remains to be seen, how Sudalpa is going to deal with it. But as far as we are concerned, the coalition agreement is there. There's been a lot of dialogue between the leaders of the three parties, which includes me as well. And so any issues that arise as a result of decisions taken by the Prime Minister and the government as a whole will be dealt with within the coalition agreement and the understanding we have as a three-party government.
Could you directly speak to the allegations that have been not only online, but we've also received evidence in regards to Minister Tabuya and the Minister of Education? Do you have confidence in him?
The Prime Minister, has already made a statement on that, and I don't want to add anything more to it.
Okay. The Prime Minister has yet to comment, so this is new evidence of messages.
Well, I'll leave it to the Prime Minister to make that call, and statement.
Linda has called this. She hasn't directly responded to specific allegations, but she says it is fake news. Do you back her? Do you back these ministers? Where do you stand on this? Because the people of Fiji, as a matter of public interest, are calling for accountability.
Well, as I said, the Prime Minister is the head of the government. And as I said, the Prime Minister had already made a statement. And I'm sure if there is anything new that he has to add on it, he will obviously do that. So I'll leave it to him.
Okay. But are you aware of whether or not the Prime Minister has spoken to these ministers? Is anything happening?
Said, I will leave this matter to the Honourable Prime Minister, and I hope you understand that.
The allegations that involved the two cabinet ministers, an extramarital affair that happened whilst on a parliamentary trip last year, and it also involved Linda's admittance of doing drugs. I wanted to give you the opportunity to respond. Would you like to see these ministers resign? Will you be taking these allegations seriously and further, since the Fiji police are investigating?
this is a matter that I'll leave it to the Prime Minister. And as I said to you before, Prime Minister has made a statement, and if it is necessary, I'm sure he will make further statements on it. Thank you.
What do you say about the seizure of methamphetamine and Fiji police's investigation?
Well, when we were in opposition, obviously, we raised this. In fact, you would recall that the NFP in opposition at that time moved a motion for a national inquiry into the drug problem. So as a government, we knew that we already had a problem, and obviously, we had articulated this in Parliament, and now as a government, we are determined to deal with this. The Honourable Minister for Home Affairs, and the different arms of government, police and other stakeholders are determined to address this, very, very serious issue that has been a problem that we knew, which the previous government, of course, turned a blind eye. So as a government, we are taking a very, very strong stand on this issue.
So could we see more busts like this in the future?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the police are obviously onto the job, and I'm very confident that as a government, and our police are working very hard to find out, how these things have ended up in Fiji, and who are the people. So the investigations, I'm sure, will reveal this in the future.
Papua New Guinea's Chamber of Commerce is estimating the cost of the recent riots on businesses in the capital will come in at around the 1 billion kina mark. Investigations into the cause of the unrest are ongoing, but so too are political ructions in the wake of the lawlessness. Our PNG correspondent Scott Waire spoke with Koroi Hawkins about the current state of affairs.
Yeah, recovery is obviously going to take a while, and business leaders and the chambers of commerce have come with a figure of at least 1 billion kina as the cost of losses. The progress of getting the shops up and running again will take probably a year, a whole year, 2 years at least, to get the buildings up again where they were. Bigger businesses like City Pharmacy Group, the City Pharmacy Group has said that they will keep their workers on a payroll, at least for in the interim, keep them employed. And that's going to be a huge cost for them. And they've expressed, Sir Mahesh Patel has expressed that we are willing to continue and resume business and come back with a bang, but we need government guarantees that our businesses will be safe and our workers' job security will be safe.
On the investigation side, have anything started? Have you seen anything starting to crop up, both on the cause or even the unrest itself?
Yeah, there's been a team put in place by the Chief Secretary, a 5-man team, and their investigation, I believe, is ongoing. The Assistant Commissioner for Police for NCD Central, Anthony Wagambi, was suspended last week. A lot of people weren't happy with that decision because he was, I guess, one of the few people who was on the scene trying to contain the situation, trying to encourage his men and women to go back to work, and he's been penalized for it. The Secretaries for Finance, Treasury, Personnel Management, the Police Commissioner for Police have all been suspended for 14 days. Within the government ranks itself, the Prime Minister's promised a recovery package, at least 50% of the costs as compensation from the government to the businesses. I don't know how soon that will happen.
In Parliament, there's been a lot of movement. Please update us on how things sit at the moment.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of talk about movements, and there's been a lot of maneuvering behind the scenes on the corridors of Parliament and outside of it. 6 MPs have resigned in the last 2 weeks. The Papuan bloc, especially led by Keith Duhu and Sepuka Temu, have resigned from government ranks. The last one that resigned from government ranks was Belden Nama. So Belden has expressed that he's dissatisfied with the government and with the Prime Minister's leadership, and he's moved on and moved to opposition ranks. There's also a lot of talk on WhatsApp groups that have been set up for what they call the Eastern Bloc, the Eastern Highlanders, the Chimbus, the Lower Highlands Bloc. The Lower Highlands Bloc, especially the Eastern Highlands, is an important province because it has 9 members of parliament, second only to Morobe province. Morobe has 10, including the governor. Eastern Highlands has 9, including the governor. So whenever there's an election, those 2 provinces, always the intention from political forces to either gather them together or destabilize. So with the Eastern Bloc talking, I don't know how far that will go in terms of mustering the numbers and going towards a vote of no confidence. But there's this, talk that's going on behind the scenes. The Prime Minister is confident that he will retain his seat. A lot of people are saying, yeah, but we want to see tangible changes. We want to see actual improvements happening in the economy, in the social services and all that, in the business sector. And a lot of people feel that he's being supported within government ranks. There's not enough, people talking about his removal. That's the general sentiment that many people have expressed.
And that's important coming up to the end of the 18-month grace period, but also with the numbers, the James Marape still has a large majority in government, doesn't he? Even with all of these minor movements.
Yeah, he's expressed, articulated a figure of about 51, between 51 and 54. The others are coalition partners. He's maneuvered around basically satisfying coalition members. So the defense minister has been changed. Another minister taken up that spot. He's tried to appease the public by removing Ling Stuckey as Treasury Minister and taking over as Treasury Minister. The United Resource Party that belongs to William Duma has been given a few portfolios or moved from one portfolio to another. So, yeah, a lot of political movement to shore up the numbers to satisfy coalition partners and appease the public, basically.
The South Seas Healthcare Pacific Cup cricket tournament ended over the weekend on a high for the Papua New Guinea women's team, the Lewas. The Lewas successfully defended their title, beating Aotearoa Māori by 5 wickets in the final in Auckland. Moira Tule Patela attended the tournament and has the story.
PNG's captain, Brenda Hoito, says it's been a tough competition and she's proud of her team. She sees the team is also thankful for all the wonderful support it received during the competition.
Families back home, our country members, everyone, we just want to say thank you to everyone for the support and love and everything they've given us. It's really been a blessing and it's really been a tough time, but we're glad that everything worked out.
This is the first Aotearoa Māori women's cricket team to compete in the Pacific Cup.
To be part of the inaugural first ever Māori team is, it's just massive pride for all the girls and everyone involved. You can feel how special it is in this sort of environment. So, it's been an absolute honour to be out there and leading it as well.
That's Kerry Tomlinson, captain of Aotearoa Māori. She says one highlight for her has been meeting the other wahine from the Pacific region.
On our dinner night and on our cultural night at the Pō Whakanaho, those moments are really special, and we love that aspect of the culture being involved, and to see everyone bring their own Pacific Island flavour, we absolutely love that, and those are going to be also some really cherished moments.
Samoa, Vanuatu, Fiji and the Cook Islands were the other teams in the 2024 competition. Vanuatu came third, beating Samoa in the playoff, and the Cook Islands won the 5th place playoff over Fiji. Vanuatu's captain, Selena Solomon, says it's been fantastic having the Cook Islands and Aotearoa Māori in this year's competition.
When we had tournament a few years ago, we didn't have Cook Island, and it was, small amount of numbers, and now we have Cook Island and we have the Maori team, and I know they're not an international team yet, but it's good to have them because they play elite cricket, and it will only get us better to improve our game.
The Nawhanua is the Samoa women's cricket team. Its captain, Regina Lili'i, says having Aotearoa Māori in this year's competition and New Zealand cricket hosting the event has created a lot of exposure for the Pacific nations playing cricket.
Going to hopefully inspire a few young kids out there to pick up the cricket bat, because New Zealand cricket have been doing a great job getting our footage out there of all our games and trying to get as many people down to the grounds as possible.
There were no wins for the Fiji team in this tournament, but its captain, Elisa Pefi Wangavakatonga, says meeting the other players who shared their knowledge and skills has been great for the Fiji team.
It really helps. It helps us to develop women's cricket in Fiji and also help our young players to come up and play in every tournament.
The Diversity and Inclusion Lead at New Zealand Cricket, Andrew Tara, says the last few days have been a real celebration of culture. He says the Culture Night event was a big reflection on the kind of cricket that has been played.
Lots of support, lots of laughter, lots of colour, lots of singing, and it's been great. And I think it's important that cricket is seen to be open to lots of different cultures. And I think from a New Zealand cricket perspective, we want to see the growth of female cricket, not just here in Aotearoa, but across the Pacific as well. And that's one of the primary reasons we put our hand up to host this tournament.
That's Pacific Waves for today. To listen back, head over to rnzi.com/programs. We're also on Spotify, Apple and iHeartRadio podcasts. From myself and the RNZ Pacific team, to Whāsui Fua.